Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko number 2716A. This is what's called a mill finish aluminum heavy-duty threshold is what this is. So we'll talk about where you would use it and etc., why you might want to buy this or specify this. But first, some dimensional properties. This is going to be 6-inch wide. Okay. It's going to be 1/4-inch rise. Certainly makes it handicap compliant. The 1/4-inch rise isn't the indicator that it's handicap compliant. The overall permissible height of a handicap threshold is actually 1/2 inch. But this would be one that you would use probably in a different type of application where you weren't necessarily wanting to do or be compliant with handicap established code law, but you need something very flat to the ground and something very solid and stable. So let's talk about what that would be right now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. What that would be most certainly would be the fact that you need something solid. And you're going to see thresholds like this, and this is called heavy duty, and it's because it is a piece of solid aluminum that's extruded and has this fluted feature top to it, which is nice for anti-slip resistance. It will have these, I wouldn't call them serrated, but they kind of look like they're serrated features to the leading edge on both sides. And where I would end up using this is where I knew I was going to have a substantial amount of traffic over it, probably hand cart traffic as well. So an ideal application for this threshold might be a very busy walkway with hundreds or thousands of cycles every single day. It would also be one where maybe it was a service door to a business and there was going to be routine 2-wheel hand cart with 100 pounds or more going over it. I wouldn't really want a saddle type threshold where it would be either not braced below or just have a couple of webs below or even one. I'd opt for something heavy duty, and in fact it doesn't happen often at all, maybe once a decade, but I'll sell a 10-foot threshold to someone who has a car dealership. That is always a solid threshold, and in fact it's even heavier duty than this. There's more material to it. But this will sit right flat down onto the floor and will allow you to take over heavy traffic. That's where I would end up using this. I personally wouldn't use this if it was standard foot traffic or moderate to low volume. I just don't see the reason for the additional cost because it is substantial when it's a solid piece of aluminum. What's really going to make the most of the threshold that you do purchase, regardless of what it is how well you install it. It's going to include, and this obviously is this is a 6-inch sample piece just for purposes of this video. That's all that this really is. And it will include just number 10 by 1.5 inch flathead Phillips wood screws is really what it will include. If it was me, I wouldn't install it with those. I would end up using machine screws and lead anchors that we can add to your order as a separate line item. That can easily be done. I would prefer that. You would drill a hole and you would seat that lead anchor down, and after, what I would do is I would run silicone or polyurethane is what I would use, caulk down both edges, make sure that entire area was clean, all of my anchors were positioned, this was drilled and countersunk, and then I would run those machine screws down into that lead anchor, and that would allow a very substantial, robust installation that would be capable of handling the kind of traffic that you may end up encountering through it. Those anchors, if you were to use plastic anchors, that threshold gets moved laterally with traffic over it. It gets moved around, and that's what the serrations here tend to look to counteract. That will bite into the sill to keep that lateral movement to 0. But that sort of anchor is just going to get worked out as the threshold moves back and forth in that small amount of area. And if you've ever walked over a threshold and heard a clanking sound, yeah, it's a loose threshold is what it is. That's never a good idea because it's hard to repair it after the fact. And I know that I've seen thresholds with lots of holes drilled in them. Some have screws in them or fasteners and others don't. Yeah, They had a failed installation and they had to re-drill holes. So I would use this in an application that was going to require something solid, and then I would certainly, if you're going with something that's going to be solid, therefore possibly lots of volume and use, absolutely consider an upgrade to your fastening method. Let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at some of the supporting information. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Here's the item that we are indeed looking at. Not too much to see here. Profile of what the threshold looks like. Extended description information tells us it's 6x4 aluminum and a mill finish. Mill finish is just raw aluminum is what it is. Ideal for heavy-duty, high-traffic, and high-weight bearing applications, such as institutional facilities, schools, cafeterias, manufacturing buildings, and hospitals. Withstands coastal and high-humidity conditions. Ultra-durable, extra-thick extruded nickel aluminum construction is guaranteed for 10 years. So there you go. It's fire-rated, and it is handicap compliant. It's handicap compliant because it doesn't exceed the maximum overall height, which is 1/2 inch. But that rise over run is compliant as well. And I'll show you a reference to where you can review what that formula is. We have some images that are linked to down below. There's a photograph of what that looks like. Close-up of a leading edge of it. Those serrations down at the bottom. And the fasteners that are included, the underside showing those serrations. That really helps to eliminate that movement that you have there. Okay, there is a link below this video as seen here to the manufacturer's page. When we click on that, we'll be able to pull up not only the Pemko website, but also a link to the manufacturer's catalog. And let's take a look at that catalog. And then we'll do a find function on our keyboard for 2716, Control F. And we'll pull up all of the matches of a 2716. There it is. 2716. Heavy duty thresholds. Heavy duty panic or latching thresholds or bump up. This 1715 is one that's not uncommon as well. Extremely heavy duty. Very thick wall, wall, a very substantial wall thickness is what I'm trying to say. Okay, a 6-inch version of that, a modular capability. If you need a substantial threshold and an unusual width, they can do that as well. They can weld different components together. And let's see if we can find that component that they're welding in there. That has to come out of a thermal break threshold, would be my guess. I'm talking about this component here. I think, all right, so obviously if you order a 1717, it's going to be made up of welded together pieces. I don't know where these extra or individual components are listed, if they are at all. They state that you can get up to 15-inch wide. I know that I've done wider. Just going to scroll through to see if we can get to our thermal break thresholds, which might be the opposite direction, and they are. These are thermal break thresholds where they have a piece of rigid thermoplastic inserted between the aluminum so as to retard that transmission of loss of energy, etc. But I don't see those individual components. They must not have those listed. And in fact, it could be because there is not a thermal plastic insert for this area here. They may just not have one. They may just keep these components available to build and weld these special sizes. Okay. Now, on the 1716, different finishes. A 10BE is a powder-coated dark bronze equivalent, A for mill aluminum. AK is going to have a anti-slip coating on it, is what that's going to be, an anti-slip coating. Black suede powder coat, that's a powder coated black. Dark bronze anodized, and then white suede powder coat. So white powder coat finish. And this catalog, of course, is full of other weather stripping options. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos in the sense that, you know, it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. So in conclusion, if you have any questions on the 2716, it's quite a substantial threshold. There's no question about it. Feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you. A threshold is most definitely a thing that you want to put in once and not have to do it again. In order to do that, I would absolutely recommend something. If you have a residential or a low volume application, I'd be less concerned over the short-term integrity of the installation. That the volume is so low, you're not really going to be using the hardware very much. But if you have anything that's even moderate, you know, a commercial application, a busy place of business, a municipality, a school, a hospital, yeah, the run-of-the-mill inexpensive thresholds are improper. You're going to need something that the material itself is up to the task of handling the traffic, and then the anchoring system is as well. And Pemko offers, you know, a wide variety of options from inexpensive all the way up to you need it done once and forever. That's what the bottom line is. So if you have any questions on the Pemko 2716 or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.